Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. For you, the listeners of Awesome Sunday Show, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. And all you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/awesomesundayshow. It's audibletrial.com/awesomesundayshow. Sign up for your free 30-day trial. Check out over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or any of the other 500 devices that they support. Might I recommend The Hobbit, unabridged version by J.R.R. Tolkien. Forget the movies. Listen to the audiobook. They have 180,000 to choose from. Promise you won't be disappointed. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/awesomesundayshow for a free audiobook download with a 30-day free trial. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring this episode.
And today's show is also brought to you by BarkBox.com. You can get one free extra month of BarkBox at www.getbarkbox.com/awesome. What is BarkBox? Well, I'm glad you asked. Every month, BarkBox paws pick the best all-natural treats and innovative toys to match a dog's unique needs, including allergies and heavy chewer preferences. All edibles are made in the USA and Canada, and 100% of the products are tested on animals. BarkBox is a great way to try different treats from local businesses, and each monthly box is also themed: New York City, Country Fair, etc., etc. And if the dog doesn't like something in the box, they'll actually send you something that the dog will love for free, because they're all about the dog's happiness, and there's free shipping on any BarkBox within the continental U.S. And if the dog falls in love with something from the box, you can easily find it again on barkshop.com or just by texting them or go on the app. So remember, if you want to nab that free extra month of BarkBox, go over to www.getbarkbox.com/awesome.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Oh my god, you guys.
Hey everybody, it's time for the Awesome Sunday Show!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
And Pat as well.
Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Beer's
how are
coming
you?
in.
I know. I'm entering a beer competition at AC Beer Fest.
Oh, really?
No, probably not. But there is one.
I will do, honestly, at AC Beer Fest, that's
There
something
is
I would...
There is a beard contest.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going to enter, though, because I'm sure that the rest will actually be like crazy like that UFC referee, the one who has just that massive one that's down to his knees.
Yeah, that's a little insane, but that's cool, though. And we have two very special guests here for our movie review, which we will be reviewing. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
Pat as well.
Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. We've been gone for like 4 weeks.
Yeah, life's been busy.
Yeah, very busy. And Connor just doesn't have friends, so he just holds himself up in his basement and sticks fingers up his ass
Yeah.
while watching Venom.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Pat watches Suicide Squad every day, but he watches it in Ben 10 underwear.
I watch Suicide Squad to get inspiration of how to do it.
Yeah. Oh, God. Pat, remember when you said you laughed at every scene of the Ghostbusters reboot?
No, because I didn't laugh at a single one. All right, well, let's actually talk about. So today, like the title says, talking about Avengers Endgame. This is all going to be spoilers, so I don't want to hear you bitching if you listen to this and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
why don't you spoiler it to
Listen,
me?
we
And
gave
also,
you plenty of time.
fuck LaShawn McCoy, and then anybody else who tweeted the day the movie was released, all the spoilers, you're a fucking asshole. And it's one thing to post it in YouTube comments and shit because that's expected, but you're a football player with millions and millions of followers.
Yeah,
You're
but
spoiling shit for people.
I feel like
but
you
do it so casually.
Yeah, but the YouTube comments is fair game though, because usually those videos warn like spoilers. So it's, yeah.
just like on YouTube comments on anything. It could be like
Right.
a YouTube video of Taylor
yeah.
Swift getting gangbanged.
Good
You're
point.
like, oh, so and so dies.
Yeah, like that guy that got beat in Japan definitely deserved it.
Deserved
100%.
100%.
Oh wow.
But then I saw on Reddit
Dude,
somebody
wait,
put
a
it.
guy got beat up in Japan.
Yeah, after
I'm sorry,
they
yeah.
showed the movie. He was at like the first screening, and afterwards, as new people are walking in to see the next showing, he's sitting there screaming. He's like, "Iron Man dies! Iron Man dies!" He got beat up, sent to the hospital.
This
Yeah.
is the perfect time to
And he
introduce
deserved
you.
it.
So let's introduce our guests. Please, special guests, introduce yourselves.
I'm Joe Pagnotta.
Dom Pagnotta.
And this is their first time on the show. So
This is Dom's second time.
Dom's
son of a
second
bitch.
time.
Dom was
Fuck.
on for Black Panther.
yes, that's right. You gave it like a 7.
Hard 7.
Yeah.
Hard 7. I stick with that.
I respect your opinion, but I disagree. But
gone closer
Joe,
to that.
you've popped your ass cherry.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'm
In more
very
ways
excited.
than one tonight.
Yeah.
Speaking of the spoiler things, one more quick thing. Someone on Reddit posted a screen cap, and he goes, "I was just going to look at, trying to jerk off, and then somebody made the title of the video the spoilers to Endgame." And I was like, "That's so fucked up, dude! Just trying to bust a nut, and then you you spoil the movie for him. What kind of sick motherfucker are you?"
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So sick fucks out there, but we already gave you spoiler warnings, and spoiler warning lifts.
I just want
already.
to give a quick shout out. It was my sister's birthday, so happy birthday, Brain. So Thursday I didn't see you guys. I went to Baltimore and I had a great time walking around the streets and going to the bars. And I went to probably one of the greatest Mexican restaurants I ever went to. Can't remember the name.
Well done.
But I had a great time. But I saw Avengers by myself Friday night, and I actually glad I did it because it was seat G10, which is technically the best seat where you can go where you want to sit for like the best surround. This fucking dude, no one was talking. Everyone was very respectful, but it was either this dude or this other dude in front of me fucking was farting because, yo, shit stank, bro. It was bad. Like, and people knew.
When Anthony and I saw Into the Spider-Verse, the 2 seats next to us was this mom and her son. He was probably like, I don't want to say 13, but he was special, and he kept ripping ass during the movie, and then anytime he ripped ass, he'd go every time, and it must have happened straight up like a dozen times, and like I couldn't be mad just because of how he was laughing at it. It was fucking hysterical.
Hey.
But I just saw the movie for the second time this past Wednesday, and in the row in front of me was like a couple 70-year-old people, like a couple 70-year-old women and some guy, and she just the whole time was like, "Who's that? I've never seen that before. What's happening in this? Man, I guess I should have watched other ones before this."
Yeah, like all
It's
22
like, yeah,
movies.
how are you come in to watch the 20-second movie
Can't
of
come in
this
dry on it.
and just not know? And and you're 70 years old.
Yeah.
You don't realize how loud you're talking because you're probably deaf at this point. And I'm glad that I had already seen the movie at that point, but it was annoying.
Yeah, no, both times Dom and I saw it twice. Both times the theater was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first night I saw it was great. And it was actually the first time that like people clapped in a movie that I was like, all right, you know what, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about why, but it was like the first time that I've gone to the movies in a while where somebody didn't piss me off.
Yeah, no. Remember fucking Thor Ragnarok where some dude answered his phone? He's like, "Oh yeah, it's the end of the movie. What's going on?" Like,
Yeah, there was still 15 minutes left in the movie. His phone is on full blast, and he answers it, and he's talking on speakerphone, and he's trying to tell the person how to work like their fucking fax machine or something. 15 minutes left in the movie, and we're like, "Yo, shut the fuck up! Like, what are you doing?" It's like the audacity of people.
Wait. All right. So, Avengers Endgame review.
Let's hone in.
Yeah.
Don't be a dickhead during movies.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like
You want to talk during movies? Go watch that at home.
Does nobody watch the Eminem trailer anymore?
I guess not.
That's why, man. Like, here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, before we get to this review, I enjoy watching movies at my house sometimes way more than I do going to the movies. Like, it's
It's acceptable to sit there in your underwear.
People are annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
With your hand down your pants.
like, dude, like it's whatever. I don't know. But anyway, Avengers Endgame review. Sad to say, it was probably one of the worst movies we've ever seen. All collectively agree. No, of course not. We're not going to milk that joke. We already said it like 4 times.
Because nobody would take it seriously.
No,
anyway.
of course not. Of course, you know it's obvious what we're all going to say, but we're going to go into detail why we think so. But before we we're going to get into the review right now. But as in Awesome Sunday Show fashion, the very special guests go first. But as an order in very special guests, the one that's been on the least goes first, then second to the people who's been on. So
Before we do that, Congratulations to Dom and Case for getting engaged.
Yes.
Boy got engaged here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm
Only
sure you're
took
all
me 8
clapping
years.
at home. Sorry, man. It took me 10. But anyway, Joe.
Yeah, actually, and congratulations to Casey for putting up with Dom for, No, I'm just kidding, Dom. You're, if anything,
not wrong.
No. Trust me. If I have ever had a daughter, I would hope if he's half the guy you are. So,
And shout out to Joe McAllister and Emily, too,
yes.
for also getting
Oh,
engaged.
yeah.
I went to go see the movie with Joe the other day, and I jerked him off. So, anyway, other Joe here, not the one that I jerked off, but later.
Yeah.
Just giving like overall
Your
review.
overall impressions of it, and then we'll start getting into specifics after.
All right.
Yeah.
So I saw the movie twice. The first time I saw it, I gave it like a solid like 8. I walked out of the movie. I turned to my brother. I was like, I think Infinity War was definitely better. The movie was excellent. I absolutely loved it. Seeing it the second time, I think what happens is going in the first time, there was just so much hype to the movie. You were like, in a way, kind of looking forward to the
Yeah.
end, and that's all you wanted. So seeing it the second time, actually appreciating how fluid the movie was, how excellent it flowed. I was
That
like,
happens with a lot of movies.
holy shit. I was like, this movie is fucking awesome. By far, I think one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's just excellent movie. Everything that was well done. They gave perfect amount of time to the OG Avengers. It was an excellent send-off for them. They gave an appropriate amount of time to all the other characters to set up new movies. They didn't give too much time to, Captain Marvel, who everybody thought was going to come in and just, kind of ruin the show in a way. So I'm really happy the way they just did the entire movie.
Yeah, and it was smart because she's too OP to have throughout the entire movie. So how she
Yeah.
was using this, I think, was perfectly done.
Which now, kind of begs the question. Actually, never mind. I'm sorry. It goes into what I was going to think, but it's not my turn.
Okay,
So,
well, you better remember what that is.
Yeah.
All right, Dom?
I'm going to mirror that same sentiment. This was actually one of the first times we've actually walked out of a theater. And normally I'll use X-Men Apocalypse as an example. I walked out of there thinking, you know what? That was probably an 8, maybe a 7. As we were sitting in the parking lot talking about it, it steadily went down.
Yeah.
By the time I got in my
That's
car,
what happened to us, too,
that
when we
movie
saw
was a
it.
5. This went the complete opposite way. I walked out, same thing. I'm like, this is an 8. It was pretty good. It was a little slow in the beginning, but come on, that last battle, we'll get to that. As we're talking about it more and more, this movie is getting better and higher ranked.
Yeah.
Seeing it a second time was just spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first saw this, it blew me away. I mean, that last third is the most hype shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And I went out with a 9 out of 10. I had a raging erection for this movie. And then I saw it again, and it was just full-blown 10 out of 10. Like, best Marvel movie, my favorite Marvel movie now, just because of everything that they did, everything that was handled so well. The appropriate screen time to certain people, the strategies that they used to pair people up and stuff. And then, and everything else just made up for some stuff that didn't work too much or some stuff that they should have fixed a little bit.
Yeah.
But
there's some
overall, this movie was
inconsistencies.
like fucking balls to the wall amazing.
I agree. It's not my favorite Marvel movie still, but
After seeing it twice, that's what made it my favorite.
yeah.
Have you seen it a second time yet?
No, not yet.
I'll go see it a second time.
Yeah.
And then a third.
I do plan on seeing it 3 times.
I think I'm gonna get
And I-
AMC A-list so I can see
and
it 3 times a week for $20 a month.
and I'm on an email list I'm already on an email list to when the 4K Blu-ray Steelbook releases. So I'm trust me, I love the fucking movie. All right.
22 box set.
Just out of curiosity, what is your favorite Marvel movie?
Spider-Man
Venom.
Homecoming.
Okay.
And then Spider-Man Homecoming I would say is probably my favorite. I like that one a lot. But Avengers Endgame fucking kicks ass. And I'm gonna tell you what, I think this movie really did take a lot of risks, and those risks paid off. I don't think there was a single risk that they took that didn't pay off in a way that I didn't feel cheated. And that's hard to do in a movie, and especially in a comic book movie. Where you have to lose a lot of
one of
fans.
this scale. This is the basically the biggest movie ever made.
Yeah.
In terms of scale, 21 movies leading up to it to finish something like that, the pressure that was on this, the hype that was on it, everything that came before it, and
Yeah.
the way that they executed it,
Yeah.
it's a miracle that they pulled it off as well as they did.
Oh, it's my turn still, right?
I was
Yeah.
just
No,
making
I'm just
sure
kidding.
that's some smart conversation going.
All right. All right, and my point to what I was about to say before is you were right before that. Like I forget who said it was. Either it was one of you two, or it could have been Joe, or I forget, but whatever. It was good that Captain Marvel wasn't there the whole time because she is too OP. It would have been a much shorter battle. Like and that's fine to admit. But now it begs the question because there's been one Captain Marvel movie and she's definitely going to be around more. She crossed $1 billion mark,
like $1 billion too.
Yeah. So now and like you're like you kind of think like, well, what can they do after Thanos? Now it's like, well, who can they do after Thanos? Like who can't they do after Thanos? Because now they have to have somebody that Captain Marvel is going to be not as strong to or can hold up to without the Avengers. So I'm excited for the future. I don't. Is there any announcements for anything besides after Far From Home or
a Black Widow movie?
Yeah, they said a Black Widow movie, Black Panther, Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2,
Guardians 3, The Eternals, Shang-Chi.
Yeah. But I think they said after Far From Home, I believe Comic-Con San Diego, I think they're actually going to reveal Phase 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Show what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the first movie of 2020 is supposed to be Black Widow, and I think that's the only one that's starting filming soon. So it's probably going to be a Black Widow movie.
All right.
Yeah,
Good.
but yeah, Phase 4 is going to definitely be announced. They already have dates set, like 10 dates set. They just haven't announced what those are going to be.
Right, and I think they officially dubbed this the Infinity Saga, correct?
Yeah.
Spider-Man Far From Home ends Phase 3.
Yeah.
And it supposedly takes place minutes.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool that this is like a thing, you know? All right.
Well, dude, nobody could have expected
what?
this. Like the MCU is unprecedented. It's the biggest juggernaut in movie history.
Yeah. Dude, and like here's the thing, like even like the MCU movies we didn't like, they aren't bad movies in a general sense. Like an average person can definitely enjoy them. We just hated them for certain choices.
Yeah, just compared to the other movies, you know, like for me, like I despised Iron Man 3.
Yo,
because it followed up Avengers.
Yeah, man.
Standalone,
Dude,
Iron
fuel
Man
to the fire.
Yeah,
All
Iron
right.
Man 3 actually in reality probably wasn't a bad movie. But
Not at all.
standing up to the audience, the Marvel universe, it was like
Well,
and what they did with the Mandarin, is,
you know, who, and I'm not saying this as a joke, like, oh, he likes this movie. He legitimately does like this movie. Is Anthony? He legitimately likes Iron Man 3.
Yeah, he loves
likes
the Mandarin, right?
He liked the twist, and I'm not making that up. He legitimately liked.
Yeah, I remember him saying.
But
that.
here's the thing, like if you didn't,
But yeah, fuck Iron Man 3.
if you didn't like the character, if you didn't like the comics, like the Mandarin's like is a villain that's like no joke. He he can punch through Iron Man's armor, so. That's not something. Imagine if like the Joker was just like
He's
a mime.
the Iron Man's Joker.
Yeah,
You know?
So yeah,
And
so
they
that
made
pissed
him
me
a
off.
complete joke.
But like, so like in my mindset, it's like, all right, so someone like my dad or like my uncle or like my boss or like some Joe Schmo saw this movie, they would probably think that's a funny twist and like the movie. So I granted that it's probably a good movie, but no, I don't fucking like it, and I like fuck that movie. So yeah, I agree with you. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, I mean the pressure that Marvel was under for this, and the Russos and Kevin Feige, I mean the architect was unbelievable, and they fucking just whipped their dick out and just shoved it down.
Put
into
it right on the
like,
table.
This is what you want, and this is what you're getting.
Dude, Kevin Feige can. I feel like he's like the creator of like the Matrix.
Dude, he can like shoot my balls off, and I'd be like, you know what, man, I still love you. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Because as you were saying, they took huge risks like time travel. I remember leading up to this movie, everybody knew time travel was going to happen, and they were like, "Are they going to fuck it up?" And they did not.
No,
They
didn't.
did not.
And when we saw this, Anthony D'Elia afterwards was talking to me and his brother, and he's like trying to pick apart the time travel. And first of all, they never established rules for time travel in the movie. In fact, they say that there's really no rules. And the rules that they mentioned were based off Back to the Future. And they're like, that's not how this shit works. Yeah. And they explicitly state it. And like, so it wasn't altering the timeline. It was like the Ancient One showed, splitting the timeline into different realities. And then it was repaired. So it doesn't matter that Thanos came from 2014 to 2023, or
Because that was
Gamora
his
still
new
running around.
present.
Because it was the new present, and Professor Hulk says that. He goes, as soon as you go into the past and you change it, that's the new present, and the new present is the future. So that's how all of it worked without time collapsing on itself. Plus, it's a movie with magic fucking stones, a talking raccoon, talking trees.
Are we
Who
going
cares
to
about
argue the
that?
logic?
Yeah,
The
of
logic
come
of
on, man.
time travel.
Like fucking A.
But that's the thing. Like, there's no across the entire medium of movies, TV shows, and books. For each movie, they set up their own time travel rules. There's no blanket time travel rules because time travel doesn't exist, and even then, like, you don't know what the actual rules are because you've never fucking time traveled.
Right, yeah. Time travel isn't real in any sense of the way or any fashion, or at least not yet. Who knows? But whatever. But it's not real right now. But my thing with time travel is, like, if you're going to do time travel in a movie, make up your own rules because there aren't really any rules. So fuck it.
And it's funny because they actually point to that, right?
Yeah.
Because when they start naming all the time travel movies, it's like they all had the same concept. It was like, this is how time travel works. And Professor Hulk was like, no, that's wrong. So they even had a basis to base time travel on, and they were like, no, we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Well, Tony goes, are you basing your time travel rules on Back to the Future? No. Good, because that'd be stupid. And he's right. Like, that's what they thought the rules of time travel were, because that's what they've seen in movies. But they did pull off the time travel well because they just established your new past becomes your new present and the future, and that's all that mattered to it. And how it could still be fixed to
They answered the
return
question on
the
how
one
to get
reality.
back there.
Exactly. When Cap brought back the stones, decides to bring back the stones. But let's go through the movie as it is. I thought it was a very solid cold open, showing Hawkeye, and I was disappointed that he wasn't in Infinity War, but it's better that he wasn't because of how his arc played out in this.
And also, the way I feel about this movie is Infinity. I almost feel like we never saw the real ending of Infinity War until we saw the beginning of Endgame. I feel like once I saw the beginning of Endgame, I was like, oh shit, that was Infinity War. Like,
You finally realized the true impact of what really happened.
That's what's going on. Like, now, like, this is the movie that they're setting you up for, and then Endgame starts. Now, obviously, that's not really how it ends. That's obviously it's really the beginning of Endgame, but it just correlates so well with how Infinity War ended, and the dark tone of the movie really fits well. And like even in the comedy doesn't overshadow it either. It's definitely well balanced, just because it's been so established in the cinematic universe. But I don't know. That's just.
Yeah,
it's my point.
And it was the only way for them to make sense for Ronin to happen.
Yes.
Because when the trailer came out, we're like, we knew Hawkeye was going to become Ronin, but we didn't know exactly how it happened. Like, clearly something happened to his family. Didn't know if they were snapped or they were just killed as a result of snap. Like
Right.
they were driving or something.
It was
that
fitting
cold
to see the
open-
reveal.
Yeah.
Well,
it was great because
sad, actually.
you can, you see he's having a wonderful time with his daughter, showing how to shoot arrows. Calls her Hawkeye, and his two kids are down there with his wife and their dogs, and then all sound got taken out of the movie. The score stopped, and they showed him. And Jeremy Renner is a fantastic actor, and he showed the hopelessness so well in this movie. I think he was just as good in this as he was in Wind River, because the hopelessness he portrayed in that. And the brokenness of a man he portrayed in that carried over to this. But I thought that was a solid cold open because it brought Hawkeye's new arc to this, which led it to Ronin, which our introduction to Ronin was sick. And then again, it goes. We see the remaining Avengers that are on Earth go after Thanos.
No, it went back to Iron Man and Nebula on the ship.
Iron Man and Nebula on the ship. Which was also very well done. It was very funny. He's showing her how to play paper football, which is funny. Like, she didn't get it and everything. That was funny, and very well acted. And you could really see the effects of it was 21 days,
23 days,
22. The amount of movies.
22, 22 days up there, and the effect that it was having on Tony and how he had given up
You skinny?
and everything.
They did that great.
Yeah.
They did that
really
great.
well.
They really
Yeah, I got to give it to Marvel Studios and their special effects team because they've definitely gotten better and better with each movie, and you can see it because it started off good with Civil War. Like you can tell it was CG, but like
Even the first Captain America.
yeah, it was
Chris Evans.
It was impressive CGI. Now it's just like holy fuck, that looks real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually questioned. I was like, up until you guys actually just said it was CGI, I actually thought he lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance once he got off that ship, fucking incredible.
Yeah.
When he hugs Cap, or he really just falls into his arm, and then he just he brokenly says, "I lost the kid," and he starts crying, and then he sees Pepper, and then when they bring him into the meeting room, and the way he reacts to the other Avengers, and specifically to Captain America before collapsing, was grade A acting. Robert Downey Jr. is a twice Oscar-nominated actor for a reason.
Yeah, and he should be nominated again.
And he was incredible.
Because it still brought through the tone of Civil War.
Yeah.
Like
The
that.
defeat.
Yeah, that's the reason they weren't together in Infinity War was because of Civil
Yeah.
War, and you could still see he had some animosity towards him, and he was saying like, you said we'd lose together, and we did.
Yeah. We did lose together. And then he made a point like, the Avengers, because we handle shit after it happens. And to his point when he said about like putting a suit around the world, that wouldn't have stopped Thanos. And also, the reason they weren't together in Infinity War is because he refused to call him. But aside from that, it was so well acted, so well done, and just continued the arc of those characters and their friendship. And then when they discover, and then when Rocket went up to Nebula and just held her hand, you see this blue cybernetic woman and then a fucking raccoon just sit there and see the sadness between them holding their hands, and they just became friends at the end of Guardians 2.
Well, I'll tell you that's a testament to how well of a director and writer James Gunn is, but it's also even more of a testament to the Russo brothers because they really perfectly execute the Guardians of the Galaxy, like James Gunn's like vision in their movies, and they fit so well with the Russo brothers' vision of the entire picture.
Honestly, the Russo brothers they never were the first ones to any of these characters really, but they've handled the other writers and directors' interpretations of these characters and then made them strong. Instead of not knowing how to handle certain characters, they've known how to handle them and keep them true to what has already been set up for them.
Right. Yeah. They are like, I feel like if you like had a story that wasn't a movie and you wanted it to be adapted into a movie, like you would want people like the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Like, this is what you do. Like
Yeah.
they like kudos to them because really they like everything they've done in the Marvel universe has been great filmmaking.
Yeah.
I said before, Spider-Man: Homecoming is my favorite MCU movie. Before that, it was Winter Soldier, and like Spider-Man: Homecoming is like I was about to make measurements in my hand as if like the fucking audience can see it. I like Spider-Man: Homecoming probably like a decibel more than Winter Soldier. Like I fucking love the Winter Soldier. I love the action in the movie. I love the espionage. I love the stealth and like the shooting, the close like quarters combat. It's not like big battles. It's more like just like one-on-one. I like martial arts movies, and it kind of was like a mix between like just like of everything. It was but like when the Russos started that, like they've done it just so well every time, and like they've not only contributed to comic book movies, but I feel like they've actually just contributed to just film in general, like just giving us good, enjoyable movies. We'll say what you want about the MCU, about comic book movies, about formulaic and all that, and being a filler movie. They're totally filler movies, the Captain America movies and everything like that. But that doesn't stop it from being fucking entertaining at all.
But they're based off comics.
Yeah.
Comics don't just go major event to major event. There's filler.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah, it's a weekly thing. That's a television show too.
And it's not filler that's a waste of time or just thrown in like anime filler.
Yeah.
It's filler that is also its own standalone story.
Yeah. Ouch, by the way.
Yeah.
Not from me.
No. You are a weeb though.
I like anime, but I know truth.
Yeah. And then back to the movie when, what's remaining plus Captain Marvel, go to that planet, find Thanos, and then it was surprising that they just killed him right away. When they chopped his head off, which
was like-
they Ned Stark that guy, man.
but
yeah.
as soon as that happened, I was like, oh shit, already?
Shit, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I know leading up to the movie, a lot of people were saying like Thanos isn't the antagonist. Like his snap basically brought other beings to be like, oh, we could do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Now. So when they did that, I was like, oh, they're actually gonna bring in somebody else.
I love that fact, by the way.
Yeah.
That throughout the whole movie, Thanos was still the main antagonist.
Yeah. I'm glad that they didn't bring in a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the only other ones that they could bring in that would have made sense would be Celestials.
Yeah.
Galactus. I mean, it's
Well, they couldn't at this point.
No.
But I mean, in
True.
terms,
Yeah.
in relation to the Infinity Stones, because I think now in the comics, the Celestials created the stones,
Like
or
Death?
creating the stones across the multiverse or something like that.
No.
There's some new run that they're involved in the creation or the replication of Infinity Stones or something. But yeah, or Death. But they were never going to do Death. If they didn't do Death in Infinity War, they weren't going to.
Well, it wouldn't have worked in Infinity War.
Yeah, but anyway, right to your point, yeah, Thanos was still the biggest problem because, like you said, he's inevitable. It doesn't matter. But when they cut his head off right there, I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
What are they going to do with this now?
But in this, like,
I
And then
love
when
the
Thor
quip.
goes,
I went for the head.
I went for the head. Baller moment.
and it was still great. Like, even though they just killed him, they were still defeated.
Okay.
Oh, they were hugely broken. So yeah,
Imagine if, like, after when Thor cuts off Thanos' head and it rolls down, the film stops, and then you see, like, the Disney castle, like, stopping with the little theme music, because it is a Disney movie. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It is a Disney movie. Like,
yeah, we get it.
I know, no. it's not a joke. It's...
we get it. We get it. It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay. And then we get to the real savior of the movie, the Rat, who turns on the quantum realm device in the back of the van
5 years later.
5 years later, which everybody knew there was going to be a time skip, but weren't sure about the length of it. And then it turns out to be 5 years, which now going into Far From Home, I wonder if it's still 2023 and going forward, because up until, Homecoming kind of messed with the actual time of it. Each movie was taking place in the year that it was released.
Yeah.
But so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with 2023. But, Scott Lang pops out, goes, and I think Paul Rudd did a great job, playing the clueless person going in, because he's 5 years later. He had no idea about the snap.
Yeah.
He was stuck.
He was kinda
And then
like that.
And then he's walking down the street, and then he just sees thousands of missing posters.
Yeah. He was kind of like that guy. Remember that South Park episode? The guy that was frozen in ice for like 3 years? Like, where he wakes up in like 1997 and he was like frozen in 1994.
Yeah. And then so he's going down, and then he sees the missing names, and he's just like mind fucked that his name is on there. And then the scene where he arrives at his daughter's house, and him and the actress who play Cassie Lang did such a great job at conveying that emotion. Like, just seeing her dad, who she thought was dead for 5 years, I like that. And then Scott realizes that he's missed however much time.
Yeah.
Well done. Paul Rudd does not get enough credit for his range as an actor.
No, well, he mainly does comedies, and like, not that it's a bad thing. Like, a lot of them are really funny, but yeah, no, I agree. He can, he's got chops, and he shows it, and a lot of people show it, and like it's so cool. Like, not only it's seeing like the acting in general, just on film, but also through the special effects. Thanos, Hulk, Bruce Banner, Nebula, Gamora. Like, just like whether it's more practical or CGI, it's like, acting's not easy, and
Think about it. For a while, acting in a comic book movie or a comic book show was laughed at if you were a movie star. When Michael Keaton did it as Batman, he still wasn't, Michael Keaton. His appearance was like one of like, okay, maybe this isn't a joke, which led to bigger talent for Batman Returns. And then the next 3 Batman movies happened, and everyone was like, okay, this is a joke. And then when Tobey Maguire got in Spider-Man, none of those
2, you mean?
What?
After Batman Returns, it was Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
2.
Unless you count Mask of the Phantasm, which is fantastic.
Well, that's obviously a great movie. And so, and then it wasn't until Spider-Man and like the first X-Men movies where some better actors, but not like A-list stars yet. We're getting in with the like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen were the two biggest names, but they weren't big over here unless you were a Star Trek fan. Like Ian McKellen wasn't really that big over in the States, but then people are like, okay, this is getting serious, and then Spider-Man 3 happens, and then X3, and you're like, okay. But now over the years, A-list fucking talent, it just keeps coming and coming and coming, not just in the MCU, but into on TV, and then in the DCU, and so it's just cool how it's come to that point.
Yeah,
I don't think it's dying anytime soon.
No, it's not. And I fucking hate anybody who says there's superhero fatigue. There's too many. There's 4 to 5 comic book movies a year.
Yeah, listen.
There's a new romantic comedy, a new shitty drama, a new horror movie every other fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like,
relax and just let people like shit. Listen, will superhero movies last forever? Obviously not. But like right now, it's on a fucking run that doesn't seem like it's gonna die anytime soon.
It's looking like Avengers Endgame may take number 1. It may be Avatar.
In 4 days,
why would they stop?
In 4 days, it became the 8th highest grossing movie of all time. It broke all the opening weekend records that there's ever been. This movie is going to continue to be massive. And it's going into its second week, and the box office numbers have not dropped significantly. It's still fucking going. And it just goes to show, this shit's not going away anytime soon, thankfully. And anybody says they're superhero fatigue or they're tired of it, don't fucking watch it. Nobody's forcing you to watch this shit.
It's been 3 phases, 11 years of just MCU, and I could not wait for this movie to come out.
Oh, yeah. I'm not tired of this shit.
Just as excited to see where they keep going
Yeah.
with it.
Am I tired of bad movies? Sure. I'm tired of bad movies of any fucking genre. It doesn't matter. Superhero fatigue is a fucking bitch-ass way of trying to seem cooler than everybody else.
Yeah. Do you think it has a chance of beating Gone with the Wind as far as adjusted to inflation?
I think it would need to make $3 billion.
I don't think anything's ever going to touch Gone with the Wind, because Gone with the Wind's inflation, is over $3 billion, and like that is pure insanity. I mean, if you look at Avatar, that is an insane amount of money, but at the same time, everybody was seeing it in 3D or IMAX, so they were spending like $17, $18. But in a movie like this, you can see it for $12 to $15, depending on where you are. But like Avatar was carried by selling primarily in 3D and IMAX. But Gone with the Wind, I think, is $3 billion is
like 1.7,
almost
$1.8 billion in how many days?
In a week. Yeah, no, it's insane. And I hope this beats Avatar. I hope,
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Yeah. I think that if there's ever going to be a movie to do it, it's going to be this. But yeah, Gone with the Wind, no. I don't see anything ever beating that. Unfortunately. Because it's...
No, I'm not. I hope it beats Avatar. Gone with the Wind, if nothing ever beats that movie, that's fine. I actually do love that movie.
Right. So getting back into the movie, then, Scott reconnects. And then one of the funniest lines actually was when Black Widow was talking to the other Avengers now that they're spread out doing their own missions. And she talks to Okoye and she goes, "What's going on over there?" And she's like, "Well, there's some, shift in technology in place." She goes, "Okay, what can we do about it?" And she goes, "We just let it happen. It's an earthquake. You can't stop an earthquake."
An underwater earthquake.
An underwater earthquake. Yeah, like, what do you want her to do?
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
I'm not going to lie. I think they were hinting at Namor there.
He was hinted at in Iron Man 1. He was on the map. So, I mean, Wakanda was at the time too. But I think that Namor is still owned by Universal. I'm pretty sure. So they can never have a solo movie. As long as the rights to like the Hulk work, they can't do a solo movie with him. But I think that they can do him in like as an addition to. Like,
can anybody fill me in quick why Universal won't make Marvel movies or do a joint?
Well,
with like what Sony did. What Sony did was perfect.
Yeah, but Sony was also severely desperate. And Universal just holds all the power in this for doing a solo Hulk movie if they want. And Marvel might not be too keen to do it, although maybe now would be the time since Hulk has gained popularity since The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk didn't make that much money.
No.
So they probably don't want to,
It didn't lose money, though.
It didn't lose money, but, they probably don't want to go through the whole process of dealing with getting strong-armed by Universal to make a Hulk movie, which will be more successful now, but they did, Planet Hulk, which is arguably the most popular Hulk story of the last like 15 years.
Yeah.
I want to say. But so I think Namor would probably just be, featured in another movie. But I don't know exactly how his rights work. I just know how Hulk's do.
I see.
What was it? But I liked after that scene, Black Widow and Steve's interactions. I always thought that their interactions, especially since the start of Winter Soldier, have just gotten better and better because they're both in a similar position. This fight is all that they know. It's all they've ever been known. It's all they've been trained for their entire lives.
Well, you know what? And like it almost like after watching Avengers Endgame, you finally start to realize like the reason why Captain America like wants to save Bucky and Winter Soldier isn't because like Bucky, it's his best friend. It's the only person that he knows that's like him.
It's like him, and it's the last remaining thing of his old life.
Yeah,
like the life before Captain America.
Right, and like he wants that life back so bad, and he gets it. We'll get to there though.
Yeah, and then so that interactions, and then Scott coming in and theorizing in how he's processing while trying to tell them about time travel. The way like Paul Rudd again plays it off like that is great, and then how the other characters are just like, yeah, time travel. Why the fuck no? Let's do it.
Because I think what you don't see there is the desperation that they all went through, and it's 5 years past since they've pretty much given up hope at that point.
I mean, and right before they go to kill Thanos,
he's still fresh out of it. It's been 5 hours in his mind. He's like, we need to do this, and that. This could work. We could save everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, right before they go to Thanos' farm planet, Steve says, "I know it's going to work because I don't know what I'm going to do if they don't," and then he still doesn't know, and then he's in that support group. Which was nice to see Joe Russo in. He put himself in it, even though he died.
That was Jim Starlin too.
Yeah, the guy who created Thanos.
Awesome.
Yeah,
very awesome. But Joe Russo died in Civil War, so there's some like fucking inconsistencies here.
I had no idea.
Oh really?
Until I was reading some reviews, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's the dead body in Winter Soldier.
Wait, what was that?
He was the doctor in.
He was the original doctor in Winter Soldier that Zemo took his identity. I mean, in Civil War.
He was the doctor who treated Nick Fury in Winter Soldier though too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But even then, like he says, he goes, I don't know how I'm supposed to tell these people to move on when I never can after this. And then they go bring it to Tony, and then we get the setup of, it's kind of like going in to see again. You're like, okay, Tony's going to die in this because you see he's got the life that he wanted, the reason he gave up being Iron Man. He's got the daughter, he's got Pepper, they have this nice farm. He's still tinkering and stuff with this, but he's finally got a life where he doesn't have to be Iron Man. Sure, it came at the expense of, countless lives throughout the universe, but he still got something that he wanted, and he accepted that there's nothing he could ever do to fix that. And then when you realize they're talking about time travel, and he just, kind of laughs in their face. But then, of course, because it's Tony, he goes, shit, this might actually fucking work. Mm-hmm. And then he does it. And then I loved when they when they introduced Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
I thought was great.
That was so
funny. And just went right into it. And, you see Scott, his eyes are like wide, looking at this like, how the fuck is happening? But like,
he's like, isn't it crazy? I'm wearing shirts now.
I'm wearing shirts. And he goes, yeah, how are you doing that, by the way? And then he's like, and then when the kids want to take his picture, and it's really funny. And then when they're like, hey, you want a picture of me? I'm Ant-Man. And they're like, no. He goes, no, it's Ant-Man. And he goes, no, forget it. And then Hulk's still pushing forward. And he goes, no, fucking, just take the phone back.
The kid literally said no.
Yeah. It was great. And then, which of course leads to,
he's eating Ben and Jerry's. Is he eating like a specific one though?
He's eating the one that they referenced
the Hulka whatever.
When they referenced in Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when they go to New Asgard, I thought it was great, and it was funny because how they just smashed the back of that truck so that it was just scraping on the bottom when he got up, and then just the lift it had. But then when they reveal Fat Thor.
That
was clearly really funny.
Yeah,
that was a great reveal.
That was a Taika Waititi moment. Mm-hmm. Like, again, perfectly adapting the character established, but in your own in your own movie.
My only problem with that scene was Fortnite.
Whatever, dude.
Fortnite's not going to be popular in 5 years, and it was just the only reason they did it is because Fortnite for Infinity War and for this did promos and their thing. But Noob Master 69 was a classic like PSN name. And then when Korg's like, Thor, he's doing it again. He's bothering me. And
You just called me a dickhead.
rain down lightning on you was great. And I do think, I mean, there were still plenty of funny moments from here going on, but that fat Thor, not the fact that he was fat, but the jokes against him kind of went on a little too long after this, after he ends up at the compound. And like a lot of people had a problem with like them making fun of him being fat or the fact that he became fat. But it makes so much sense. Why?
He had PTSD.
He had severe PTSD. He had insane guilt. I mean, he lost his mom, his dad, his brother. Killed his sister. His home got destroyed. However many, his best friend died. Was killed by Thanos.
The reason for
and however many people died before the snap on his ship, and then half his people died. He failed in killing Thanos because he didn't go for the head. His survivor's guilt is absolutely insane. So it makes sense that and you saw the amount he was drinking. Now is a day.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter if he's God, man.
He's
if
using Stormbreaker as a bottle opener.
He's using Stormbreakers. He is a broken man.
Yeah, if anything, you can argue he lost the most out of anybody in any like he has nothing, almost nothing. So it makes perfect sense to but we'll talk about that later.
Just say it. Just get the point.
Okay. It makes perfect sense to why he gives up his leadership to Valkyrie because it's not his. It's obviously not his fault that like all that happened.
But it goes back to when he was talking to Rocket in Infinity War. Mother was killed by a dark elf. Father died. Brother died. Killed his sister. What more can I lose? And he was already a broken man at that point.
Yeah.
But then you see him now. He managed to lose even more.
Not just his people, but he lost for the universe.
Yeah, and like even when they say Thanos and he gets mad, he's like we don't say that.
We don't say that name.
Yeah, so I actually like what they did because it makes sense. Just some of the jokes went on a little too long, later on, but it didn't bother me enough.
I don't think they were making too many
one
fat
joke.
jokes
They
about
made
him.
they called him Lebowski.
Lebowski, which also
not really a fat
that
joke.
means that either Jeff Bridges is separate from Obadiah Stane in this universe, or somebody else played Lebowski.
Well, I mean, they reference Hot Tub Time Machine. Sebastian Stan's in that.
Oh shit, you're right.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, he's like the douchebag skier.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I forgot about that.
I think what's the mother said like go eat a salad. They made like 2 or 3 fat jokes.
Nah, well, and then when like he's drunk and like sloppy during the planning of it.
Yeah,
I thought
but
that was
it wasn't.
hysterical.
but that's
no,
just
it
being
was funny.
drunk.
But I don't know. It was still his whole arc was still good, and people were like, oh, they put Thor to wayside. I'm like, no, they actually captured his feelings perfectly.
My only issue with Fat Thor is that he stayed fat in the 3rd act.
Yeah,
I think they
like
could
when
have
he-
did something. Again, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Like when he goes to Asgard, I feel like he could have drank a potion, or like when he wields Mjolnir again, like and feeling the
Or
force
just
of
picks
that,
up Stormbreaker again, and he gets his armor.
and it makes him skinny. I think they missed the opportunity on that. But the fact that he was revealed as being fat, I think, was absolutely perfect.
But why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What-
at that
what
point,
would
why
that
not?
have
I'm not gonna
accomplished?
lie, I kind of like Fat Thor.
I thought he was hysterical.
No, he Chris Hemsworth is fucking hysterical, and he's great, and he's really nailed.
He Deadpooled like Thor for me, like how he like Thor was like I didn't hate Thor, like I hated Deadpool and X-Men Origins Wolverine, Pat's favorite movie, but like Thor was always kind of like I was like, oh, he was probably like the least interesting one out of all of them. He like really turned that character around.
Well, him and Taika saved Thor because in the first 2 Thor movies,
equal amount of credit for both.
Those movies are not the best written movies, so there wasn't a lot for him to work with. He was better in the previous Avengers movies because he was he was fueled by better writers, and he was able to play off people better, which I think is one of Hemsworth's strengths.
Yeah, Thor was my favorite. Was one of my favorite parts.
So Thor's
in the first 2 Avenger
turnaround
movies.
is, just under Iron Man's turnaround from their beginning of their run to the end of their run.
Yeah.
Just under it. Hemsworth apparently is going to sign on for 2 more movies. Hopefully as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Awesome.
And then another, because he said when he was filming Ragnarok, he goes, yeah, I would sign up for more of this shit. So hopefully. And then the whole planning of the, when they're going to find the time stuff and everything.
The
The time heist was great, and then when they just kind of have revelations like, oh shit, we can do this all on one day, get 3 stones, and then just like what was it? It was Tony, Nat, and Bruce were kind of all just sitting around, and they were like, "What are you talking about, idiot?" And then they figure it out.
You picked the right year. There's 3
Yeah.
stones.
Yeah.
And I think that the design of the quantum realm suits the time travel suits were great. That part where they tested out on Scott was really, really funny. And he goes, "Yeah, somebody peed my
And
suit."
then
I don't.
when Iron Man comes up, he turned into a baby, didn't he?
Yeah,
Could have warned you about that.
yeah. I just loved how RDJ, or Tony was just drifting around Avengers like camp. And then when Scott's sitting out on the porch just trying to have his taco, and then the Benatar comes down and blows it away.
And then Hulk shows up.
And then Hulk shows up, giving him 2 tacos. And Rhodey goes, "What's up, regular size man?" There's just so many great interactions, and then the execution of the plan was great. Obviously, sending Bruce, Tony, Cap, and Scott together to get the 3 stones. First of all, strategic planning. They were able to use, again, some recycled footage, but then the new footage that they added to the Battle of New York was excellent.
Yeah.
I really like seeing the after effect of immediately after they capture Loki, because in the movie they just go right from there to when Thor takes him back to Asgard
Yeah, they don't.
in Avengers.
They explain a lot more.
At that time, didn't bother me. I didn't question
Oh
it.
no,
at all.
I never
Yeah.
questioned it either,
But
but
now that
I
they've
thought
showed
that
it,
going
I'm like, you know
adding
what?
it back,
Yeah.
I think just it was great. And the interaction for and when Scott says, "Damn, Steve, that's America's ass," and then after he beats himself up, and he goes,
It's like, that is
America's ass." Perfectly delivered line.
That whole scene, from when they get into the theater or when they get into the suite up at the top,
Yeah.
and they see all the Hydra agents, like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? You didn't know. They look like
They look like bad
That
guys.
was
Yeah.
good.
That was great.
elevator scene.
The callback to the elevator scene was
was
great,
great.
and then just the way that he delivered Hail Hydra was great. And then when he fought himself, and then he goes, "I can do this all day." He goes,
was-
"Yeah, I know, I
That
know."
was great. Absolutely
Was-
great.
The
Great.
callbacks.
The
just-
callbacks were great,
There
and
were
then
so many.
and then when he causes Tony to have that cardiac
Cardiac arrest.
arrest, and Thor goes, "I'm gonna try something. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's," and he zaps him, and he goes, "Oh, it
had
worked!
no
I didn't know
idea
it-
that was
I didn't know
gonna
it was
The
gonna
guy
work."
did not think it was going to
But
work.
then Loki sees the Tesseract, and he's just looking around like, "Oh shit! All right, let me just zip out of here."
And can I just say how happy I am that Loki's still alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I'm happy and upset in a way, because it's like they didn't pay that much attention to it, which in a way is good, because you don't want to take that much of the movie away, but at the same time it's like, holy shit, Loki just disappeared.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah. That's a new point in time right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a Loki, a pre
Revelation Loki.
Yeah, the Loki.
You're
that-
still getting batshit crazy evil
yeah,
Loki.
and that's the Loki I want.
And
you
we're
know?
getting a Loki series on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Sorceress. Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see. And then, when they, and then they're like, "All right, maybe you should smash some stuff to Hulk," and he goes, he's slightly banging. It was a great character moment for Professor Hulk, because it perfectly captured Bruce just in the Hulk form. And then when,
Excuse me, Enchantress. I said Sorceress. I mixed up the name.
That's all right. So, Enchantress is the
I wasn't sure
sorceress.
if maybe you're going for Lady Loki there.
No, Enchantress. But there's two of them. There's a DC one too.
Yeah. I heard you really liked the one in Suicide Squad. And then I thought when Tony realized that they can go back to that military base in 1970, the day he was born or the day before he was born, right?
Yeah, they didn't. Watching it the first time, I was like, okay, because I thought he said his wife was giving birth, but
Yeah.
then he was like, she's just expecting. So they didn't really explain how Tony knew that date specifically.
Yeah.
Maybe I had missed
didn't.
something.
He didn't. He made it very clear he knew a roundabout date.
Yeah, he knew a roundabout
And that's
date.
why they were so really focused on you're sure.
Yeah.
Because we've only got one shot at this.
Right. It was great because we got to see Howard Stark, and John Slattery portrays a great Howard Stark. So did Dominic Cooper on Agent Carter. and in the first Cap movie. Young Michael Douglas again the de-aging
great.
effects.
The aging was
Looked
perfect.
great. That whole aspect of, because Steve and Tony had mini arcs in this. Tony got to talk to his dad, and he got to understand him in a way that he hadn't before, which also led to the ending when he goes, that little guy hasn't been born yet, but there's nothing I wouldn't do for him. Tony, ends up sacrificing himself in the end because he would do anything to protect his daughter and Pepper. And Steve gets to see Peggy again, which what led to what he was thinking in the end, was just very well done. And Nebula and Rhodey kind of had a little connection when they on Morag, and she shows her the coating of her metal hand melted. She's like, I wasn't always like this, and Rhodey's like, yeah, I know, like me either. So they kind of have a moment. And I think Nebula was really great in this, too.
In that scene, she's like almost explaining why she's ashamed of herself, but he just brushes it off casually.
And speaking of which, Nebula is now one of the longest serving Avengers in the movie universe because she had been an Avenger for 5 years. Just as long as most, if not more than some of the other mainstays. It's a fun fact for you guys there.
How'd you guys feel about the "let me speak to your manager" haircut on Captain Marvel?
Didn't like it at all.
The wig was really bad.
Yeah.
It was a
I
really
think-
bad wig. She does have that haircut in the comics for a while, but it's just they had a really bad wig.
I thought that was her actual haircut.
I don't think so.
I could have swore I read something that said she actually cut her hair that
I
way.
don't know.
I don't know because
But, it just was kind of like, why?
Why bother?
Yeah.
She's only been around for one movie.
Yeah, and it kind of, it just...
It
And
was
even-
her
even
decision.
going with the mohawk in Captain Marvel was a bold choice to begin with.
Dude, if she did a mohawk, that would have been bad fucking ass.
Apparently,
Yo,
I read something.
I guess that's kind of, you know what, that explains why I don't like it, because it's either listen, either go all the way or don't fucking do it. You
well,
know?
I mean, she did have the, like a butchy style haircut, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a wig.
No, because I was reading something.
Because
this
was filmed-
photos of her came out before the movie, and a lot of people were giving her shit for it. And she did an interview, and apparently, her makeup director, on the first day of filming Avengers, Endgame, was like, "Oh, what do you want to look like?" And that's the hairstyle she picked.
Well, that's what Captain Marvel looks like in the newer comic.
Yeah.
In the newer one, yeah, because she filmed her entire role in Endgame before
Captain
Marvel came out, so that's why I wasn't sure. Are you sure she wasn't talking about her makeup and the lipstick and stuff?
It was mainly about the hair. The entire interview was about the hair. I could try to go back and find it.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
it's not a big deal. And I really liked on Vormir, Black Widow and Hawkeye. Though Jeremy Renner and Scarlett Johansson have great chemistry together,
Perfect.
which they've been demonstrating, and I think that showed just
But
both
it's
their
not sexual chemistry.
no,
It's
no.
true
I
friendship.
didn't mean like that.
exactly, yeah.
They're
Well,
both they both have great acting chemistry.
For
and then
anybody
the
that's
friendship.
never seen a Marvel movie and has just decided to watch this podcast, to clarify.
Yeah.
Or
No,
listen
I mean,
to
it's
this
like-
podcast, I mean.
They both act with each other really well, and then the two characters have great friendship chemistry, and it just showed how so similar they are. And when Hawkeye goes, "Yeah, we're thinking of two different people right now, aren't we?" And then that they fought each other to sacrifice themselves with Black Widow winning, and it just showed how smart both of them are with the tactics that they went to it. But she outsmarted him with the little hook. And again, Jeremy Renner just showed off his acting skills in this. It was very, very well done. Now with Black Widow, she has a movie coming out.
If they don't explain Budapest in that movie, I'm going to be pissed.
That's why I think it's gonna be a prequel.
It doesn't bother me.
No?
It's not one of those things that I need to know.
I need to know.
You know?
I need to know what happened.
Would I be happy if they showed it? Sure, but would it bother me? No.
They've
I like
referenced
it ambiguous.
too many times.
Yeah, I don't mind if they leave it how it is. But now is she going to be in the past? Or one theory I have is that now that Cap brought the stones back to the moment they were taken, when he brings back the Soul Stone,
Does she come back?
does she come back because he's getting it in at the right time and he saves her, and then we just haven't seen her back on Earth at that point?
I can't remember exactly what Red Skull said, but the way he was phrasing it made it sound like no matter what they do, whoever sacrifices themselves for the Soul Stone is gone. The finality of it cannot be reversed. At least that's how I took it. And
Yeah,
I hope it
it's
stays that
smarter
way.
than time.
I hope it stays
Yeah,
that
I think
way.
it. Yeah, because you don't really know how the time travel will affect it. I do think that it's one route they can go, but it's almost. I think we haven't explored her past in this really. She's briefly talked about it, but her actual past training from
And
there,
that's-
it's just been glimpses of it. And I
That's
think,
what's
and I
the
think
most
if they did
interesting
it,
parts of Black Widow.
and I
is
think
her
that
past.
if this movie takes place just all in the past, I think that's a great decision because the more that she slowly reveals about herself, the deeper of her character she becomes. It's to be really interesting to see how she became fully who she is instead of
She
just the
has
little
had
glimpses that we had.
great character development without really knowing too much about her.
Right, because it's like in each movie, just a little bit.
And even when they were on Vormir, they even hit it again when they said something about her father.
And she never knew her
was like,
father's
She
name.
was like, I don't know my father's name.
Yeah. And of course, we got to see a nice little glimpse of Red Skull again. I wonder what he does now that he doesn't have to watch the Soul
I
Stone
wonder
anymore.
what Cap did when he encountered him.
Yeah. Like, oh, so you're not dead. Like,
Yeah.
what can he do at that point? And then I thought when they were back on Asgard, Thor seeing his mom again, that scene between the two of them was
And when
so
she
well
immediately
done.
called him out.
Yeah, when she immediately called him out, I thought was great.
It's like, yeah,
It was
I'm
really great
totally from the
to see.
future.
Well, he needed that as a character.
Oh no, he did.
Yeah.
That's what saved him in this movie for himself. Like saved him from himself in this movie.
Right.
It was probably the most important scene with Thor for Thor in this movie, and it was great seeing how she clearly knew going back that she was going to die that day, but just it didn't matter because she knew that it had to happen, and then she couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
Because that's clearly why the way he was acting was clearly why. And
almost
he goes,
makes
"I have to tell you something." She goes, "No, don't."
It almost makes that scene back in Thor: The Dark World a little better.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and I think that for all the jokes and all just the great action and all the great set pieces this movie had, the emotional moments were some of the best executed scenes in the entire thing.
Absolutely.
And that was just another thing. And then the score that they were playing when Rocket was going to steal the Reality Stone from Jane, like the classic heist movie music in the background, so great.
Yep.
And I hope to see more of Rocket and Thor. Going
Yeah,
forward.
I kind of almost wish dude, I can go for a Rocket and Thor just movie and Groot, Rocket,
Yeah.
Thor and Groot, just
Oh, totally.
that would be a great movie.
That would be awesome. And then I liked how, and then of course it was also extremely important because he was still able to summon Mjolnir to show that he was still truly worthy of
And I
being
think that
Thor.
was his turning point.
And
right
that
there.
was his turning point. That's what brought him back. Was that very scene with his mother and then getting Mjolnir back. Was awesome. And then how they set up Thanos coming back was well done. And it's not something you think of going to it, and it makes sense why Nebula was the one to be affected of it because of her neural network connection was connecting to it, and that's how they realized that. It was very well done. It's not like in some movies their memories collapse on each other, so they get the memories of their past or their future. I thought that was smartly done how they did that too.
And also when Thanos sees when Thanos finds out everything, obviously he would know right away what's going on. He's Thanos. He tells Tony Stark, he's like, you're not the only one cursed with knowledge. So when he sees that, he figures out, it's like, I must have succeeded, and they're coming.
Well, he
back
does
and stuff,
say, he goes, so I was successful. And then even when he saw his head got chopped off, he
Didn't
goes,
even care.
he didn't care
Yeah.
because his destiny was fulfilled. So he knew, he died, but he had accomplished what he wanted to accomplish.
Right.
And so I really liked how they brought Thanos back into the fold and brought him to the future. I thought that was very well done in keeping the time travel going. And then we also got more time with Nebula and Gamora. The past Gamora, sure, and the future Nebula. But I thought just establishing their sisterhood going forward was very, very well done.
Yep.
Because it showed you how much it meant to Gamora the entire time.
Yeah. because that was
she wanted, she always
even
wanted
in
that.
Guardians 1 you see that she really did want to, and in Guardians 2 is when they really get into how much she just really wanted to be her sister, and Nebula was always the one putting it off. But in this they connected very well, and again it just goes to show how well the Russos have been able to handle other characters that these other writers and directors have established.
Absolutely.
And it was all very impressive.
It was awesome that they brought Ebony Maw back.
Yes,
For just,
he was
it
great.
Perfect.
Because he was so good in Infinity War, and he didn't last very long, unfortunately. But I thought he was great. And then when they finally get all the stones back after everything happened, and then they deal with the loss of Nat, and everybody's reactions to that was very well done, from the overtly obvious, to Hawkeye's reaction, to Professor Hulk's reaction, to Steve just going a single tear.
Yeah.
The reactions to that were well done.
Thor's reaction saying, "Why can't we just bring her back?"
Yeah. And then when they make the new gauntlet, which smartly made out of the nanotech, was well done. And then it just showed, and they were all fighting on who's going to take it, and how Thor wanted to do it, but they didn't want him to do it because he was drunk. Even though at that point he sobered up because he had his moment, and then when Hulk did it, and I'm glad that they said it in the beginning of the movie, but it was gamma radiation, which makes sense because he brought it back to himself, and how he did that, and that snap, and then just the way that they showed it work. You see the birds going, and then Hawkeye's wife calls her, and then Thanos' ship attacks, and that's when shit gets real.
And that is the last the last hour. It's just,
Was it an hour? I don't know.
think
It was
maybe
it
half
just
hour,
went-
45
felt
minutes.
so quick.
It went so quick because of how epic it
Just
was. That's
fucking
why.
balls to the wall.
Because it was balls
just-
to the wall, and dude, that was
Unbelievable.
And it was
Unbelievable.
One of the most unbelievable things about that part is that Thanos doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet, right? Up
And
until
he's
this
still
point,
such
we
a badass.
only see
Yeah.
Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet for the most part.
with at least one stone.
Yeah, in Infinity War, we see him fight Hulk with just the one stone, the power
Yeah.
stone, but you never see it light up, so that's
Right.
his true strength. After that, he gets to the Space Stone, and Doctor Strange makes it known right away he's now the most powerful being in the universe. So after that, you don't get to know his true power. So just him not
Just his
having
true raw
it,
power.
and just facing Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and
Demolishing
in a way,
them.
fucking them up.
Yeah, because Thanos without the stones is so strong. He really is. His people are just essentially strong anyway, but then he's a mutated form of his people, and he's also a very smart fighter, physically imposing, and he's just super strong, and he was beating the shit out of all of them. Now it's great, and when he realized that they were, in Infinity War, he wasn't actively killing them while gathering the stones because his mission was to gather stones. He didn't give a shit about really killing them.
In
Yeah.
Infinity War, they were more like a bother.
They were a
Yeah.
bother.
He was swatting them away like flies.
Right.
Here, he
because-
was actually fighting.
Yeah, because in Infinity War, he went to the randomly kill people. He made that
Yeah.
a point on Titan. He was like, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. He's like, I wanted it to be random.
Yeah.
I think that's why he wasn't going out of his way to kill them in Infinity War.
Right. And, he really didn't kill anybody aside from when they first landed or invaded the Asgardian ship. And it wasn't him that was killing, it was his children.
Yep.
But other than that, in the entire movie, he doesn't kill anybody
He kills
until the snap.
Gamora and Vision.
He kills Gamora and Vision.
Heimdall in the very beginning.
No, he didn't kill
Yes,
Heimdall.
he did.
That was
he
him?
took Corvus Glaive's spear.
I thought that was Corvus.
I
Glaive
thought
that
it was
killed
Corvus
him.
No,
Glaive
he
that
took
did
the
it.
spear.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, still, he
Killed
could
three people.
people.
three people, but in this, and then it just showed the full brute force of him. He demolished Cap's shield. He leveled Iron Man. He beat the shit out of Thor with Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, and he was just shaking that shit off like it was nothing. And I really loved the brutality of it. And even before he starts fighting them, he's just sitting down waiting for somebody to bring the stones for him, just like he waited all those years to start gathering all the stones. Was very, very well done. And then just seeing the main three Avengers going at him was great. And then of course the moment that got me the most hype out of anything I've ever seen.
I know what you're gonna say.
Well, at this point, Thanos is putting Stormbreaker in Thor.
Yes,
in the
putting
exact
Stormbreaker
same
in Thor.
spot.
Yes, yes. And then when the camera
Well,
cuts, you see.
let's let the guests say what happened.
Okay.
I've never heard an entire theater go
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the same moment. And the raging fucking erection you get.
Oh my
Just
God,
seeing
dude!
that
like-
happen.
So as Thanos is essentially killing Thor
he's literally 2 seconds from killing Thor.
in the exact same position that Thor struck him with the axe, you see Mjolnir start to raise.
Yeah.
It passes Thanos' face, and you think, okay, it's Thor. And then you see it whip back and just fucking Captain
there-
Yes.
America.
He's got the hammer. He's
got
got the
the
shield.
shield.
And then he starts spinning it.
Oh, dude,
Well, see,
I
think,
grabbed my heart.
and I think the best thing about it was when they showed Mjolnir rising, you're like, okay, Thor is calling it, and then it completely subverts and goes to Cap, and he's going right at Thanos, balls to the wall. And not only is he using it to beat the shit out of Thanos, he called down lightning on Thanos.
Yeah, and Thor even says, he's like, I knew you were worthy.
Yeah, because
in Age of Ultron, he like
he
kinda,
moves it.
Yeah,
And the reason he didn't pick it up in Ultron, or that he couldn't pick it up in Ultron, is because he didn't think he was worthy. But he's always been worthy because he's a pure-hearted dude. And in this, he realized it, and it was also just like he goes, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. If I can get it, I can get it. If not, I'll still fucking, go
and
for
just,
it."
It was quick. It was maybe about 15, 20 seconds of him using both the shield and Mjolnir perfectly.
Back to back.
He,
He was
dude,
Throwing
and
the
he
hammer.
understood the
calling
dynamics.
it back, throwing
Yeah.
the shield. He was
I-
hitting him in the back of the head.
Oh,
It was
when
unbelievable.
he flung the shield and then threw Mjolnir
Yeah.
at the shield to create a shockwave, and then threw the shield and then fucking hit it again
Yeah.
with Mjolnir. It was just
He clearly learned from Thor how to perfectly wield that, and then
oh
add
my
it to his
God.
own skills.
It was I'm all about spoilers before we're going to see a movie, so I knew that was coming because that was one of the spoilers I read the most. But just seeing it, even seeing it the
if you hear
second
about it,
time I
dude,
saw the
it-
movie,
it's
I was like, I
That-
grabbed my heart. I was like, holy
that was
fucking
one of the
shit.
greatest moments in movie history for me.
Ever.
That
Ever.
was unfucking believable. And then that battle between them was fantastic. And then just when they start to lose, Thanos destroys the shield. He stabs Cap through his thigh. He knocks out Iron Man. He demolishes Thor. And then you hear, "Hey Cap, on your left." And then you just see all.
But before that, you realize what Thanos was saying to him.
Yeah.
It's not personal. I've never done this.
I never did it for
anything
personal.
Yeah.
And he was like, but I'm going to enjoy
destroying
your planet.
Yes.
And then you see his entire army, which you've seen stuff he never had before. He had like giant
Yeah.
brutes.
The
He had
gorilla
tanks.
outrider thing. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Like
The
he
Chitauri
had,
came back in full force.
he had
Yeah.
a ridiculous army.
The
And that
entire
shot
Black Order,
when
it
it's
was
just
great.
Cap by himself here, and then Thanos and his army behind him, excellent shot, very well shot. And then on your left,
straps
great
back on the
callback, and then you're
shield.
just like, oh shit, this is going down, and
And it
all
kept
this lingering
going.
circles on.
yeah.
I've never had the chills for that long. I don't think.
Everybody came out. And
Everybody.
Doctor Strange
There was
goes,
a Howard. There was a Howard the Duck.
I read
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Howard the Duck was in there. I'm
I
like,
didn't
how
know.
did I miss that one?
I can't. I have to admit, I didn't see it when I saw the
Even
movie.
the second, I didn't see it the
Yeah,
second
but
time
I
either.
saw it in images on Google.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Even the second time, I was still just astounded by what was
Just
happening.
everybody
Yeah.
that died.
And even Doctor Strange just goes, is that everyone? And Wong's like,
you want more?
you want more? Oh, dude.
Yeah, that actually
That was
a perfectly timed joke.
Yeah, it was.
But that was the most hype shit I've ever been watching anything ever.
That was great.
Yeah,
and then when he
incredible.
just dropped Avengers Assemble,
Finally.
Yeah, about fucking
Finally.
And the charge.
the charge,
And
which
the
we've
charge.
been waiting for since
Yeah.
the Infinity War trailer. Not
The
even
actual
Endgame,
charge
the
when they
Infinity-
filmed that fake scene, yeah.
Which we've been waiting for, and they just fucking and that's what I was talking about in the beginning of the episode. Once they bring everybody back, they gave perfect screen time to all the new people they brought back.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
with Pepper and Tony both using the suits.
Which was great.
The rescue
which
are
was great.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
With Thor and Cap fighting together,
Yeah.
and then he was holding Stormbreaker, and then he had Mjolnir, and he was
No,
like,
you
"No,
took
you
the
get
little
the
one."
small one," and it was just perfect. Valkyrie and Spider-Man, it was just
Spider-Man's insta kill.
Spider-Man's insta kill was great. Rhodey's new armor, once that battle started, was fucking sick.
That was really cool. Yeah,
I don't know where he got.
I didn't like it.
I don't really know where he got it
That
from.
was the Iron Patriot,
It was like
right?
the Iron Patriot armor fused
It
with
was
his
like
other
it was like a
armor.
mini Hulkbuster armor
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, that's what it
but
looked like.
if
I
you
didn't
think
like
about it, it was perfectly
I
suited for
hate
that
the
battle.
Iron Patriot armor. I hate it.
I like the way that this armor looked. Going in it,
And
then
it actually
you know,
confused me until the second time. I'm like, wait a second, who's in that?
yeah,
And then it wasn't until the end that I'm like, oh, okay.
And Scarlet Witch is fucking Thanos. Up.
oh dude, when
just
she goes,
literally
you took everything from
ripping
him.
I
apart.
don't even know who you
He
are.
doesn't even know who you are.
Sorry, wait, Dom. How do you not like that suit?
I don't like. I read.
This.
you-
This is it, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct?
the
Yeah.
Iron
Yeah.
That suit's fucking really cool.
I read.
It was a bulkier version.
I read Dark Avengers, and it was an awesome series. And it's Norman Osborn who's in the Iron Patriot suit.
respect.
well, I mean, it's
So
kind of just like the
it's a
similar
lot of
design,
fun.
but it was a little more bulkier. It's like a mini Hulkbuster.
Like,
in a
I
way.
think it fused or somehow fused with the armor that Rhodey
Yeah.
was wearing.
And then, of course, we get a typical Peter Parker moment. He comes out. He goes, "Hey, Mr. Stark, we've gone for like 5 minutes, but apparently it's been 5 years." He was telling me. And Tony just hugs him. And then they get right into the shit. Just fucking everyone gets their chance to shine, to kick ass.
They're trying to get the
Trying to get
gauntlet
the
to
gauntlet.
the van.
Yeah. And then even
Which was great because it made that whole battle have a purpose.
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Because I know that was one of like the
Every-
major complaints with Infinity War. The battle in Wakanda, for as epic as it was, really served no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It was just blood. You know,
Well,
it was just-
it was entertaining.
I mean,
It was
it was
absolutely
to
entertaining.
get
I love
it
it.
was to get the Mind Stone.
yeah,
But this actually had an end game purpose to
yeah.
it. But then Hope and Scott have a little moment. She goes, "Got it, Cap," because she was making fun of him in Ant-Man and the Wasp
Yeah.
for it. But everybody got a chance to kick some ass in here. We saw everybody basically go to fight.
Gamora and Quill.
Gamora and Quill had a moment.
Yep.
And even when Gamora goes, "Really? This is him?" She goes, "It's either that or
A tree.
a tree." Yeah, hysterical. And then that rescuer armor was sick, and
Rescue
just
armor.
Pepper using it was
Pepper
wielding
was
it great.
great.
Seeing
And then the
Valkyrie,
A-Force moment.
the A-Force
All the
moment,
women
yeah,
team up.
Yep.
that was sick. And then Peter just clutching the gauntlet, and he's going through. And then when Captain Marvel comes up to him, he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm Peter," because he just loves introducing himself to everybody. And going for it, and just that whole thing, and just him being carried from person to person, swinging him across. Awesome. Just everybody got their chance to do some sick shit.
Yeah.
And fucking Falcon destroying that like gorilla thing.
That was
Oh
fucking
my
awesome.
god.
Yeah, and
Baller.
he's improved actually since Winter Soldier, because like in Winter Soldier, like when he fights Crossbones, like he puts up a good fight, but he's not doing.
He's
too well.
outclassed.
He's definitely outclassed, but like throughout the movies, like he does progressively get better and better as
At using his suit.
but just as a fighter in general. So like
He went from a soldier to a superhero.
yeah,
Yes.
I that's perfectly said. Yeah. So like and when Cap gives him the shield, it's definitely well earned. Like he's made it. He's made it
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, I agree. And just that incredible battle. And then, when Tony asks Strange, he goes, those 14 million he looked at, is this the one? He goes, "If I tell you, it won't happen." And there's a really good reason why I didn't tell him, because Tony has to die for it to work. And, as much as Tony has evolved, if you had told him in that moment that's what would have happened, I don't know if he necessarily would have done it. But once he realized that was the only option is when his full character arc has come complete circle, complete 180, and he's fully established as a true hero of the universe.
It comes back to the first Avengers movie when him and Cap were arguing on the helicarrier.
Yeah.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play. He came full circle
Yes.
and he made that play.
He did. He did.
And even before he did that, with the Thanos and Captain Marvel fight,
Yeah.
he gets the gauntlet. He's about to snap. She comes in.
She's bending his whole hand.
She's bending his,
Yeah.
and then he just takes out the Power Stone and
What?
punches her.
Which was
Even before
great.
that, when he headbutts her and he's like, "Oh shit!" And then because Thanos is a very good tactician, he pulls out the stone and punches her. Was great. And then Tony
drops the "I am inevitable" again.
I'm inevitable, and then Tony sneakily takes it because again, the
nanotech.
nanotech was genius. He goes,
Yeah.
"I am inevitable." He snaps, and then nothing, and then you see it go. I loved how they showed it going up to his hand.
Right, and the nano, and like also again, like how we said that like the special effects as far as like making them skinnier, older, younger has gotten better. That nanotech CGI has actually gotten better too since it was introduced. Iron Man, no, it wasn't.
was
No,
Infinity
the nanotech
War.
was Infinity War.
Was
That was the
Infinity War.
first time he
That
had
was
the
the first
nanotech.
time it was. Like, but it's definitely looked better then, and since that, I just like seeing that come up. Like, it just,
was
like,
so well done. And then as all the stones are going up his arm, his body is starting to break down at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was on his right arm, which people were like, "Oh, why wasn't it on his left arm that's been hurt?" Because he's using his powerful arm. Thanos had the gauntlet on the left hand the whole time. The left hand is, I mean, it was for, back in the Dark Ages, like seen as the devil hand or the hand of the devil, and the right is the right of justice. And then he goes, "I am Iron Man," and snaps.
But it was just so much slower. He was like, "I am Iron Man."
Was
boom.
Epic.
Right, because it was epic, and you can tell he was struggling to say it because it was.
He was getting his body was getting destroyed.
Yeah, and remember what one Infinity Stone did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It took the entire.
And they were all aliens,
Yes.
and half a celestial. But this is one just human man with just some crazy advanced tech, and you saw it destroy Thanos too. I mean, when it was going on, and Hulk, and.
Did Hulk actually fight during that battle? I don't remember.
Yes, he did,
Yeah,
and they
he
did so well with
He
him
did.
only using one arm. I noticed that the second time
Yeah.
around, like when they're
There
all,
was so much going on, but he wasn't.
When they're in the basement and it's flooding, he's holding it
I
up with
remember
one
seeing
arm.
him,
Yeah.
and
And
the
then-
giant man pops
Dom,
up and
yeah,
he comes
it
out
was
of the hand.
And then even him
Yeah.
fighting, he
No,
was
he
doing
was
it with
fighting.
He
one
was talking
arm.
to Cap at
No,
one point. I don't.
No,
was he,
it
like,
was
fighting?
between the scene where Nicolas Cage breaks in and steals Declaration of Independence.
But no, he was fighting during the fight just with one arm. Like they did show that he just wasn't. His fighting didn't get in the focus. He was kind of in the
I wish I
background
didn't
of other
laugh.
characters fighting. But that was. I'm not gonna lie. I cried. I don't give a shit. Judge me all you want. That.
It was
Pussy.
And
Well, hold on. Even before that,
The dude sitting next to me broke down.
even before that, one
Yeah, he did one
key
of
thing I
those.
forgot. Key thing I forgot to mention was Doctor Strange and Tony looking at each other before Tony grabs the stones, and he just slowly reveals his finger to
one
one.
finger.
This is it.
And then when Tony snapped it, won't lie, I cried. Had 11 years with this dude.
It was
countless movies.
But it was right. You see him snap, and then you don't even see him right away. You start to see
Yeah.
Thanos' entire army disappear.
Right.
One of the Leviathans about to eat Rocket.
Yeah, that dies.
crashes
Thanos
down.
sitting down and seeing him fade to dust with the exact same like music playing and the sound effects.
Right. It all came full circle.
Yep.
Everything was done in a poetically justice way.
And
He
He
then
wasn't trying to fight anymore. He realized
He
was
realized
defeated.
he lost.
and then you're like, holy shit, they won, and you see Iron Man turn around
Yeah.
and half his face is
Just destroyed.
singed, gone. His,
And then
his
I love-
ear was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved how Rhodey was the first one, and he got there, and he could just tell. And then Peter got there,
Oh my god.
and he
That's-
starts crying. He
that's
goes,
what
"Mr.
got
Stark,
me.
we got it. Mr. Stark, we got it."
But
and then he
the
held
kid
him.
in him. He just kept going.
Exactly.
He still had the hope. And that's
Exactly.
when Pepper flew in.
And then-
I love how she just didn't say anything. She
Yeah.
just picked him up and moved him.
And how he held Tony while Tony was dying, just
Yeah.
as in Infinity Wars the other way around. And then Pepper, she
Asked
asked Friday,
Friday.
and then she goes, "It's okay, Tony. Now you can rest." Because before he showed them how time travel could work, she goes, "Would you be able to rest if you didn't do this?"
she knew it was going to eat at him.
And then he got to rest.
And then you just see the fucking triangle fade out.
And then you see, it
He
fades
doesn't
out.
say a word.
No.
He didn't say a word.
That was apparently his choice, by the way, to not say anything. Like he felt like
I think it was better that he
yeah.
didn't.
Because
Don't quote me on that. That's something I read. But
which would make 100% sense. Like he was destroyed. That took
yeah,
I wouldn't-
I imagine one of his lungs dissipated.
Had he been able to say something in that moment, it would have been like, I don't know. It's better. I think it's
thought-
better that they didn't say anything.
Didn't he like say a word or two?
I think he's a pepper. Or something
Pep,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
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 he
something
could
like
barely
that,
finish
yeah.
saying it though. But that was so well done, and just shot you right in the fucking
Yeah.
heart. But that was just Yeah, that was
That
incredibly well
was
done.
emotional, and it was like the entire audience in whatever movie theater you went to. I saw it twice, and both times, the second you saw his face singe was just quiet.
Everyone's
and
quiet,
the
and then
second
you just
the
hear
light
tears.
goes off, you just hear sniffling.
You hear, yeah.
and it was just like, holy
The
shit.
girl, on my second time, the girl sitting next to me was audibly sobbing, like
Yeah.
pretty loud. But like, yeah, it was all like sniffs and shit. And then his funeral.
The
was
Tony
actually-
Stark has a heart.
This Tony Stark has a heart coming through that, but like the video, and then he ends it with "I love you 3000."
Which, you want to hear, I don't know if you read this, the thing about
3,000
3,000,
minutes.
it's
Yeah.
3,000 minutes of every single Marvel movie added up.
In phase 3, which
Counting
apparently still
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
however, also it was Tony Stark's call to say "I love you 3,000" because apparently one of his kids say that.
Yeah.
So I guess it was pure coincidence that they all add up. to
It worked out,
3,000.
and then just seeing that funeral procession, and like a lot of people didn't realize that was the kid Harley or whatever his name was
Yeah,
from Iron Man 3.
3.
Yeah, Cass's favorite Iron Man.
Yeah, that didn't really matter. But seeing all the other heroes like slowly going through it, and
They
like
showed
Aunt May and like their
everybody.
family going through it, just paying respects to the hero of the universe. And then when Happy is talking to Morgan at the end, and he's clearly heartbroken. He worked for Tony forever, and he cares about his daughter and Pepper. And he goes, "You doing all right? Like, what do you want?" She goes, "Cheeseburgers." She goes, and you can see him. He like chokes up. He goes, "Yeah, your dad loves you cheeseburgers. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you ever want."
It's such a happy thing to do.
Yeah, that was so well done, and then just the music that was overlaid on it, and just the way that everybody was able to convey that emotion was excellent. And then when they send Cap back to go through the stones, and then he doesn't appear back in those 5 seconds, Sam's freaking out, and then Bucky notices him on the bench. I think that Bucky knew what Cap was doing. Cap probably told him. That's why when he said, "I'm gonna miss you," he made it seem
knew.
like it was more final.
Yeah. I noticed that the second time around.
You're like, oh, he 100% knew.
Yeah, he knew he was.
And honestly, I love what they did with Cap's story. I'm glad that they didn't kill both him and Tony.
Agreed.
I think that the way his story was wrapped up much better. And I predicted that he would go back in time.
Yes.
But the way that they carried it out for him to still be alive after and
Yep.
to be with Peggy was excellently done.
Bring back the shield.
Bring back the shield, pass it off to Sam was great. And I think that it makes the most sense to give it to Sam.
Yeah.
And also, the Sam as Captain America in the comics was a great run. But I think that it's also the better choice because I'm sure Bucky probably didn't want it anyway. But it also makes the most sense for Sam to have it over Bucky.
I think that's why he sent him to go talk to him too.
Yeah.
Because like they're both standing there and they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
And
he didn't go over 'cause
Bucky
he
made
had
the
his
conscious
goodbye.
decision.
Yeah.
To say you go.
Because you have to figure he's the man out of time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the 100-year-old man now stuck in this future.
Like,
It doesn't make
the
sense.
man of today should be the one.
It doesn't
holding
make
it.
sense to make him
Not only that,
Captain
but he
America
probably
because
doesn't think that
he has no commitment to the team.
He also probably
Falcon
thinks that he
still does.
doesn't deserve it because of what he did while he's
Everything he did,
brainwashed.
yeah.
But I think that going in that direction was great, and I can't wait to see how they alter his costume to fit into it. Because his costume in the comics was interesting because he still kept the wings and stuff, but they weren't
white and
high tech
blue.
wings like this. Yeah, and they're getting a Disney Plus series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, but now maybe they're going to change the title, Cap and Winter Soldier.
I feel like they would call
they
him
should still-
Falcon, but
yeah.
give him Captain
It
America
also
colors.
Yeah, it also depends on where it's going to take place because none of these series have been told when they're going to take place. I really like the scene with Clint and Wanda when they're like, "I wish I could tell her," and she's like, "She knows." They both know. Talking about Vision because
That's
Vision and
also-
Scarlet Witch is getting a show
Yeah.
too.
And that's also when Hulk says he tried to bring back Nat.
Yeah.
He said, "I really tried."
Yeah. Yeah, and with Scarlet Witch finally showing off her. They did in Infinity War when she's holding back a guy with 5 stones and destroying another Infinity Stone at once, and then in this she's literally ripping him apart.
I don't think they can, for as great as they did her character, they can't truly show how awesome her power is.
Because in the comics, as a
She
mutant,
is insane.
She's more powerful than Thanos.
She's the highest
She
ranked reality bender.
She literally rewrites reality multiple times.
So to give you an idea how powerful Scarlet Witch is for anybody who doesn't know the X-Men comics, when Magneto discovered how powerful his daughter was, he abandoned her and gave her to Professor Xavier to raise and at the school for gifted youngsters because he was like I can't handle
they were raised by gypsies.
They were raised by gypsies.
They were raised by gypsies. And
I'm
then
thinking of X-Men the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, in the comics they were raised by gypsies.
Well, there's even that one story arc, House of M.
X-Men Evolution, actually, I'm thinking of.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
With
she literally says
just-
no more mutants,
yeah.
and she creates a whole new
Fuck it.
reality without
Yeah.
mutants. She is
And that entire series is phenomenal.
yes.
Which I think they're gonna to bring in the mutants in the
think that's what they're gonna do?
MCU. I think they're gonna maybe do like a reverse House of M, where maybe she tries to bring back Vision and creates the mutants
Loses
accidentally.
her shit. And then
Yeah.
that would
I
be
mean,
awesome.
I think that it was I don't know what said, but I don't think we're gonna get any X-Men release stuff for at least 5 years.
Yeah, I think they said the earliest they would do is like 2023.
Yeah.
Something along those
Yeah.
lines.
So 4 years, 5
about
years.
4 or 5 years.
But I hope that they continue to show how strong she
Yeah,
really
Can you
that
is.
imagine
was-
if they get Bryan Singer to direct X-Men reboot?
I don't think Bryan Singer is gonna be directing anything anytime.
Yeah.
Except maybe pornos in jail, hopefully. But I love how there was no post-credit scene in this because
The ending of the movie was beautiful.
Yes.
it would have
Beautiful.
ruined it to add it on.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have ruined it, but it
Just-
would have taken away
yeah.
from that perfect ending.
Yeah, because Iron Man got his perfect ending. He got the sacrifice. You see Captain America come back. You see Thor go off with the Guardians, which was hysterical.
Yes.
And then you're like, okay, it's about to end, and then you just see it back to whatever 1950, 60, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just see
Cap
Cap
having
and
that dance with
Peggy
Peggy.
dancing. He finally got his dance. They kiss, and it just ends.
Yes.
And that was just it
was
awesome.
And I'm glad that there was no scene after that. There was just that sound all the way at the very end. Which
Did you stay for it? I didn't stay for it either time. I knew about
I
it.
say yeah.
I didn't
But
stay for that.
I read about
I
it.
stayed
I'm like,
for
okay.
it the first time because I had wanted to talk to Anthony and Conway about the movie.
Right.
And first of all, Conway was like just broken from Tony dying because he kept going. He goes, "No, Tony's not going to die in this. Tony's not going." I was like, "Dude, he's going to die."
I didn't think they were gonna kill him.
I'm surprised they didn't kill more.
I
I
thought,
really thought most of the OG Avengers were going.
I thought they were gonna kill Cap, and I figured they were gonna keep Iron Man around to make cameos in like future movies. But
The way
I
they
don't
did it was
have
better.
I don't have a single complaint about the movie.
Yeah.
And I know a lot
Yeah.
of people are giving them hate about, okay, how did he go back and put the stones back and not affect the future? This was the end of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
We're not going to see those stones
Yeah.
again. Just
Well,
accept
and they
that he
also
put 'em
say
back
if
and-
you put the stones
and-
back in
yeah.
a certain way, it's not going to do anything because it doesn't matter. That's not how going back in the past and like marrying
But, like,
Peggy isn't
how
fucking.
how do you put the space stone back inside the Tesseract? The cube was destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you put the Mind Stone back in the Scepter? How do you give the Soul Stone back
Yeah.
to Red Skull?
Yeah, how do you
Let's
get the
just
how do you get the
accept, you know.
ether back to its liquid form and
Yeah.
put it back in? And it's like let's just like shut the fuck up.
It's,
Yeah.
the end, it's the end of the saga.
Exactly.
Just
That's the
accept
right
it.
way to
Just
say
fucking
it.
let it go.
And then of course we had Stanley's final cameo in this.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Which was great. I thought it was very funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then his bumper sticker said "Enough said," which he said in Spider-Man 2 or 3
I don't know.
or something like that. But I thought that was a great little, quick little thing. But yeah, this movie, goddamn. If there was no other MCU movies coming after this ever, like they were just like this last one,
I'd
I'd
be
be
fine.
satisfied.
I would be okay
Perfect
with it.
ending.
because I would have
Perfect
been
ending.
Yeah.
perfectly fine if everything else just stopped because of how good this was.
But
That was a truly perfect.
Not
ending.
really.
No, I wouldn't actually want that. I want to keep
Yeah.
seeing more.
Obviously,
but I'm just saying.
I hope they make
If it
MCU
did.
movies till I die.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if that was the case, this is the movie for that. Like, this was a perfect bookend
Yeah.
to it. If that was the case. I'm glad it's not the case, but
We get
Yeah.
it. You didn't like the movie, man.
yeah, clearly.
Terrible. Don't go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else you guys want to add to it, or should we get to our final scores?
I don't know, man. There's nothing else I can really say.
No.
All right. So we'll do final scores. We do out of 10, Joe.
Oh, by far 10 out of 10.
Yes.
I'd give it an 11 out of 10.
Same thing. I'm 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Easily. Oh, my God. I can't wait to see this. Connor is king nitpicker. So it doesn't surprise me.
Nobody
10 out
can
of
tell.
10.
Oh, you better say 10. No, see, I wouldn't have been surprised
Very
because
hostile
That's
stares.
one of my fucking king nitpicker.
you've
For-
always been
for
king
all
nitpicker,
those
and you
listening.
know it. You go, I'm always nitpicking on this, but yeah.
I do nitpick movies, but to be fair, I nitpick movies I absolutely love. Like if I love a movie, I will nitpick something about it.
Yeah.
I really couldn't think of one thing I didn't like about this movie.
There's really nothing
I'm sure if I saw it a second time.
No, I like it better the
Yeah.
second time when you notice more shit.
Like I
It's
said, the
awesome.
first time I saw it, I thought the first 2/3 were really slow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting.
yeah.
But just slow. But that's coming after Infinity War, which is
Yeah.
pure action the entire time.
That is one thing I would like to add. Actually, is that if you haven't seen the movie and you're listening to this, well, it's just spoiled. But the movie is clearly broken up into three separate parts. There's dealing with what happened, the time heist, and then fighting Thanos. Another thing I really loved about the movie is it didn't feel like Infinity War Part 2. It was its own movie.
Yes.
Right.
Which was just perfect.
Right.
My only actual complaint with Infinity War and Endgame, which I'd still give it an 11 out of 10, is that you never actually get to see the Soul Stone's power. Like, you get to see every other stone's power in a movie except the Soul Stone. Do I care that much? No, it would have been cool. But for that to be my only complaint, it just shows how
maybe they do
excellent
make
the
a
movie
reference
is.
to it when Spider-Man comes back after, they summon everyone. He says they were in this place and Doctor Strange was there, and then he said it's been 5 years and we have to come back. Maybe it just maybe it just housed all the souls that were snapped away.
He said when we were back on the planet.
Yeah, they were back on the planet. He did, and he talking to Tony, he said, "You disappeared." Actually, everyone else disappeared.
That is true.
Yeah.
So maybe it just housed all the.
Yeah.
One thing that I would have liked, but it also doesn't take away anything, is when Hawkeye got the Soul Stone. When Thanos got it, he saw young Gamora. But when Hawkeye got it, he just went back. Just to have maybe one little thing there would have been cool, just to have that, symmetry. But I don't think it takes away from not doing it.
Yeah, overall, excellent fucking movie.
Yeah, this movie was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, is this the first time we've had a collective score of 40?
I think so, probably.
Yeah.
And this movie fucking deserves it.
Before you go to bed tonight, you should listen to every episode that we review movie.
all like 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but actually, I want to thank Dom and Joe for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely. You're more than
Oh, you
welcome
know
to
what?
come back anytime.
I'm sorry to cut you off here. You know what my biggest complaint was?
What?
The fact that I saw this before the Battle of Winterfell, because my expectations were blown away.
This was the last third of this was the Battle of Winterfell, except this shit on the Battle of Winterfell.
I don't think we have enough time to talk about that.
I like the Battle of Winterfell. I just couldn't really see it.
But I watched it with them, and when we first watched the episode, we're like, yeah, it was sick, and then started talking about it, and then what happened with X-Men Apocalypse, we're like, oh shit, you know what, this
But this was fucked up, and that was wrong, and why'd they do
and
this?
it brought it down.
Solid 3.
You're a little too harsh on that.
Nah, I mean, I would give the episode like an 8. The only problem is, okay.
He's not as avid as a watcher.
No, I don't love Game of Thrones as much as you guys, but so around season 6 is when I binged it. I watched the fucking whole thing and then carried on from there. I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I do think it's great.
It was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Endgame.
Yeah, that is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Sure, you've had sex, but have you ever seen Endgame?
Yeah,
that's the end be all end all of that movie. Also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back next week. Pretty fucking hyped about that. You watch it?
I caught up over the summer.
This guy doesn't watch it.
Yeah, I
Really?
Binge watched the shit out of it.
Incredible.
All right.
The first half of season 1 is slow. Power through it, and then after that it just takes off.
I disagree. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
It's only
I never
only
had a problem
it's
with
better
it.
in retrospect because of the development that leads to what makes
the back half of season 1 so good. And it really affects the future seasons. All right, but anyway, guys, thanks for listening.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Take it easy.
Peace.